We are joined now by Senator Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee. We're going to dive into President Trump's announcement last week that he's going to be bringing the National Guard into Memphis, which, according to many measures of violent crime on a per capita basis, may well be the most dangerous city in the entire country. But I want to start with this, Senator Blackburn. First of all, I missed you in Knoxville, where you and I were both attending the Georgia-Tennessee game, which did not end well for the good guys, in this case, the team wearing orange. But I know that you were all over the place there. And it's a sporting event, but I bet you had a similar experience as I did, Senator Blackburn, which is the number of people who came up to me that wanted to talk about what happened to Charlie Kirk, even at a sporting event, was unlike anything I've ever seen before. No one, usually people want to come up and it's almost exclusively, hey, who's going to win the game? What do you think's going to happen? Almost everybody that came up to me at the sporting event wanted to talk about the Charlie Kirk situation. I've not asked you this, but I bet you found it to be similar as well. And I know you have a grandson that attends the same school as my son's, and the impact on young men in particular of this assassination has been extraordinarily awful. But their response has been, I have seen, very profoundly courageous. I've been very encouraged. So that's a big prelude, but I'm curious what you found in both those situations.
Yes, indeed. I will tell you, I have been just so honored by the conduct of my grandsons and their classmates and how they held a memorial for Charlie Kirk and for the remembrance of 9/11. And our grandson even noticed that the flags had not been moved to half staff before class started. So he walked out to the flagpole and he lowered the flag to half staff. And I think one of the teachers kind of got in behind him a little bit about it, but he said he was following the president's order for all flags to fly at half staff until 6 p.m. on Sunday. And I said, you know, if that's what you get in trouble for, that's a pretty good thing. Honoring someone who was assassinated, honoring those that lost their lives in our military who fought after 9/11 and all of those brave first responders, and doing what the president said was the order of the day, which was lowering the flags. And you're right about being at University of Tennessee. We could hardly get through the crowd, like you said, without people saying, look, we stand with Charlie Kirk. We stand with family values and Tennessee values and morals, and we stand with the president. And it was just such an outpouring, I think, for so many college students, whether you were there in Circle Park or at one of the fraternity houses or wherever. Clay, it was astounding to me that these kids were such a fan of Charlie Kirk. They listened to him. They followed him. They enjoyed his podcast. And they love the way he speaks truth and have so gravitated to that. And they love President Trump. And they just wanted to register their shock and their disappointment with what had happened and their grief in many respects. And we had a great sermon yesterday at our church, and the minister said something I think is so important, is that while we turn the other cheek, and we know to turn the other cheek, to evil we cannot turn a blind eye. And that is incumbent on us to remember, that we have to push back and fight against evil, and it is pure evil that caused someone to try to silence Charlie Kirk. And as we have seen, his message now will be more powerful than ever. The outpouring of support for Charlie and his work, for Erica and their children. It is not singular, but it is global in nature. And indeed, I think this is truly a turning point.
Senator Blackburn, appreciate you being with us. Something that's also getting some attention in the news cycle today is the move by President Trump to perhaps bring National Guard and bring federal resources to your home state, and specifically to help tackle the out-of-control murder rate in the city of Memphis. What can you tell us about this so far? What stage is the planning, and do you believe that this would be able to have a marked impact and effect to bring that murder rate down?
Yes, indeed, I do think it is going to be helpful. And what we know is this. Kash Patel gave me a commitment when he came to meet with me before his hearing for his FBI confirmation, and I'm on Senate Judiciary Committee. I asked him in my office and then again publicly at the hearing to help me with Memphis and getting an FBI surge in Memphis. Under President Trump's first term, we had a program there called Legend. It had great results. Biden ended it. Crime surged. We needed something back. So this summer, for 2 months, we had Operation Viper. There have been over 500 arrests. There have already been over 100 indictments. We know Memphis has 100 gangs. They have a per capita murder rate of 2,500 per 100,000. That is why it's the most dangerous city in the country. We know that during the surge, Memphis had the best August it has had in years, whether it's murders or rapes or thefts, burglaries, assaults. All the numbers have been down, and significantly down. Some the best in 20 years, some the best in over 5 years. So this has made a difference. Now, the surge with the FBI is over. They've worked closely with Memphis police, with the mayor of Memphis, and they need to continue this multi-phase approach. And it has been an interdisciplinary strategy with different agencies. So in order to back up the Memphis Police Department, you will have the National Guard. Now, they can go in, they can do paperwork, they can do logistics, they can do traffic. There are so many things they can do. And this will allow Memphis police, who do have arrest powers, to go in and apprehend others in these gangs and get them off the streets. And that's where Memphis PD needs to be focused, is continuing to apprehend these gang leaders and gang members that are selling drugs, that are doing sex trafficking, human trafficking, that are carrying out these thefts. You know, in Memphis, it's a logistics hub. And we have the port at Memphis. We have all 5 Class A railroads, I-40 that goes from the East Coast to the West Coast. And you also have FedEx. So when you've got all of this with the river, the rail, the highways, the air, cargo theft is a big issue. And these gangs have created processes to go in and rip these containers and carry out cargo theft. So being able to have the police work with these companies, whether it's rail or water or highways, and get a handle around this cargo theft is vitally important also. So the National Guard is going to be appreciated. They are going to be welcomed in Memphis. We want Memphis to be safe. We want it to be prosperous. It is a wonderful city. It has a promising future. And a big part of that is getting the crime under control.
Senator Blackburn, Buck and I started off the show talking about the dark soul of the left in this country, that so many people have felt compelled publicly to celebrate the assassination of Charlie Kirk? This is a big question, and it's one that I've been thinking about a lot. How do we fix this? Because if your soul is so dark that when you see a father murdered in cold blood simply for sitting in front of an open mic and saying, tell me whatever you believe too, the soul of so many people is profoundly evil here. How do we fix the rot in our culture? What can we do?
Well, this is something that talking with people through the process of legislation that I have worked on with the Kids Online Safety Act and trying to get that passed. And you look at what these young people are picking up on social media. They become isolated. They get onto these platforms like Reddit and Discord, and they get into these discussion groups. And instead of it being a tool that opens their mind and something for good, it narrows their thought process, and they become very angry. So I think the church has a role to play in this. I think parents have a role to play in this. Governance for social media platforms have a role to play in this. Looking at the mental health of kids, that is something that has to be done. It's not going to be fixed by one thing or another thing, but I do believe that strong families can help. I do believe that getting kids off of these social media platforms, that will help. I do think that and I will say this, I think the governor of Utah has done an exemplary job in this, getting kids off these devices. You know, right now, the studies that we have seen is we've worked on keeping kids safe and trying to hold social media to account. You know, teenagers are spending as much as 8 hours a day on the phone.
Yeah.
8 hours. Middle school kids are spending about 5. And when they're doing this, they're being exposed to things that young minds are not equipped to see this. I mean, this is why we have ratings on movies in theaters. You can't take a child to an X-rated movie. You can't sell them alcohol or tobacco or firearms. You can't take them to a pornographic show or a strip club or sell them magazines, but on the virtual space, they're exposed to it 24/7, and they become desensitized. And, you know, I am, and some of my friends, we are just praying, deeply praying that scales will fall from eyes and that people will awaken and they will realize what is happening to our children in our society, that they will encourage our children to boldly stand for values and for right, and to stand against some of this evil presence, to come off of these devices. And that means that adults, parents, teachers, preachers, everyone's going to have to do their part.
Senator Blackburn, always appreciate you. Thanks for joining us.
You got it. Take care. Bye now.